So you did a project for your portfolio, and now you're wondering, is my project a good project? Is it going to impress people? Is it going to impress a recruiter? In this video, I will give you a few pointers that I would look for in a project to tell whether or not this project is a good project or a bad project. So let's go. All right, so the first thing is pretty obvious. Is your project actually working? Because if you say, I did this project, but then nothing works. If I go to your project and it's riddled with bugs and it doesn't work, then it is not a good quality project. I'm sorry to say that, but you have to have a project that at the very least is functional, that doesn't have bugs, and that is working properly as advertised. So the fact that it works properly is good, but it has to be working properly as advertised. Because you can't say, I have a website that will manage your finances, and all it does is ask you to enter data in the website, and at the end it will give you the sum of the numbers. It needs to be working as advertised. The second thing I look for in a good quality project is documentation. So what did you do? How did you do it? What is configured in the backend? All the things I cannot see have to be documented so that I know what is happening, how it's happening, what did you do, where did you get your information, what code are you running, and all that stuff. I should be able, through your documentation, to reproduce your project without any issues. So everything should be documented, all the hurdles should be documented. So having documentation doesn't mean you have to have a tutorial. You have to do professional documentation where here's how everything is configured, here's where everything resides, here's where I group my resources, here's the resources I use, here's the names, things like that. But it doesn't have to be step by step, click here, click here, click here, click here, right? It's just documentation of what you've done. Somebody with enough knowledge should be able to reproduce your stuff. Another thing I look for your project is that it is complete. Everything that you do there has to be fully functional when you present it, right? If you have half a feature or errors in your code or things like that, it is not complete. So you have to present something that is complete. It doesn't have to be done. You don't have to have 100% of your idea or 100% of your work completed, but whatever is presented in your portfolio has to be complete. Think of it as a painting made of multiple canvases. Each canvas in itself is complete, but the whole project doesn't have to be complete for each individual canvas to look good. So it's understandable that you probably won't do something completely, that you won't be able to do everything you set out to do, but whatever you release, whatever you put out there, whatever you show has to be complete. Now on to some more subjective traits of a good project. The first trait is it has to be useful. Do something that the person who's going to look at your project is going to find useful. So when you make a project, try to make it useful to the person who is going to be looking at it. The more specialized the usefulness, the better, especially if it targets something related to the job you're applying for. So if you're applying for a job in DevOps, do something related to DevOps, like how to deploy a specific type of infrastructure as code, how to do a tool to manage issues, do a tool to manage code, do a tool to manage, I don't know, production and test releases and user acceptance testing and things like that. Another thing is I want to see that you challenge yourself, that you didn't just follow a tutorial and reproduced it exactly, that you did something beyond the tutorial, that you did something beyond the most basic things that is expected out of anyone. If all you do is a tutorial and you don't improve on it, you don't elaborate, you don't make your own touch, then there's no point for you to do anything. Don't even publish it, honestly. If all you did is a tutorial, do not share it. Because if I've seen this tutorial and I see your project, I'll know that all you're good for is following a tutorial, which is a good skill, right? It may sound like a good skill, but it's a portfolio to showcase you, right? And if you as a person is only a person who's capable of following directions, then it is not useful to me as somebody who would hire you. because I want somebody who would be willing to improve on things, who's willing to think for themselves and go above and beyond what is asked of them. So a tutorial is a good starting point, don't get me wrong. Tutorial is a good starting point, but you have to improve on the tutorial. You have to go beyond the tutorial. You have to add your own flair. If there's code, modify it, change the project, make it a different project, or add new technology to improve on the tutorial, but don't just do the bare minimum of the tutorial. Another thing related to usefulness is if you're able to do something that is relatable to everyone. Yes, it would be good if it was very specific to the job, but if you can do something that is relatable to everyone, that somebody would be like, you know what? This portfolio, right? This portfolio is good. I want to use whatever this person did in my life because what you did was very good and I could use it. For example, I don't know, credit card payment calculator. That's useful for a lot of people. I know I use that on a regular basis, even though I wish I didn't have to. But do something that's relatable to everyone. Like, for example, do an aggregate of sports scores, right? Do a TV programming, a TV guide, right? Where can I see this and what do I need to have that? Things like that. Just do something. If you can do something that is useful to everyone, then you're winning people over. If they can see a use in your project, you're winning them over. If it's something too narrow, like not even like related to a job, but like very narrow, very niche that you did, and people don't understand the use for it, it really puts a damper on how interesting the project is. The last thing is you have to add some personality to your project. You have to put yourself in your project. Somebody has to see that it's you who did it. That is not anybody else who would be able to do this project because this is your flair, this is your colors, this is your text. Everything is you, right? So it's important to do that. Make something that is engaging, that makes people want to stay longer, to learn more, to read more, to explore more. If it's engaging, it's memorable. And if it's memorable, it means they will remember you, they will want you, they will like that they remember you. And being memorable is always a good thing, unless you're memorable for the wrong reasons. Be memorable for the right reasons. All right, that's it for this video. Share your projects in the comments below if you have one. I would love to see what you guys are doing, all the great work everybody's doing, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. So, you know, when you do a project and things happen and then you